So all we have to do is to look at the actions. And I think what Rappler continuously does is to put everything in context. And, again, I see all of the statements on social media, the attacks on social media, and I hear the government official statements where they say, this is only one, everyone posts there. No, no journalist in our country, since the time I've been covering in 1986, in the 30-some-odd years I've been a journalist, I've never been forced to post bail 6 times in 2 months.
Wow.
That's not normal.
Yeah. When you were covering the campaign period, I think Rappler coined this phrase that is now very popular, weaponizing the internet. And can I ask you, what do you mean by that?
The government is now using the law to attack its perceived critics. And I say perceived critics because in the end, I am not a critic of the government. If the government perceives it that way, that's its own problem because it has interests to protect. I'm a journalist. All I do is I call a spade, and I don't scare easily. I've been a journalist for too long a time in too many different countries. I've worked under dictatorships. And I've said, Father Nono, it's really alarming that it was easier to work under Suharto's Indonesia than it is under Duterte's Philippines.
Wow. Hello?
Yes, I'm with you.
So, what a comparison.
Kasi po naman, I was president of the Jakarta Foreign Correspondent Press Club before the last year of President Suharto.
When you were still with CNN, is that correct?
I was the bureau chief in Jakarta at that point for CNN. I think the difference is, transparency. Even under Suharto, the laws were clear and they weren't amazing, right? But they followed the law, the rule of law. And all I am asking for the Philippine government is to stop bending the rule of law, having one set of executions for its allies and another set of executions for its perceived critics, right? I think it is also ridiculous that a journalist I've now paid more bail than Imelda Marcos,
Really?
That's just ridiculous, right?
Wow.
Yes, and I've already spent a night in detention,
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm not in government. I'm just a journalist.
I'd like to ask now, of course, your arrest had a lot of reactions. What about from media organizations? What kind of reactions have you drawn from them? Would you know?
I think that what we saw in the coverage is that, and this is the message I gave to everybody, this is not about me. It's not just about me or a Rappler or even journalists. I'm truly concerned about the fact that there is this very, very transparent deterioration of our rights as Filipinos. So the way, I said this in front of my colleagues in the media, and I think it's alarming to them as well, that law enforcement can walk into a newsroom and pull you out and detain you. Are we back to the future? Is this 1973 all over again? It shouldn't be that way. We should have learned our lesson. I think, I asked and I appealed to my colleagues in the media to continue covering the story because the end goal of this detention, the end goal of the arrest warrant being served is to make me an example and to scare others. I may not even be the target of the action, right? Sinasampulan lang po ako eh. Tapos, pag nangyari po ito sa akin, sinasabi po nila, ito pwede rin mangyari sa iyo. And look at the chilling effect. Almost, within 24 hours or so, Mr. Kang, who says he's only a private citizen, threatens the Philippine Star, and its online arm takes down a 2002 article right? Rappler refuses to do that because we will not be intimidated. I'm just saying the chilling effect is real.
Yeah, of course, it's not just Rappler. We know, of course, of what happened to the Philippine Daily Inquirer. It went, yeah, and then of course ABS-CBN is also mentioned by the president every now and then, and that he vowed that he will never approve of the. Of its franchise, the renewal of its franchise. I work also with the DZMM, ABS-CBN, and of course, they're very much concerned because the franchise ends this year, so they don't know if they're going to operate next year.
You know, Father, I always say, I think that, what the government can do is try to intimidate us. And I think what we need to do is we need to hold the line. I cannot imagine the government not renewing the franchise of ABS-CBN without a revolution, because imagine Filipinos without our stars. Hindi po news yun eh. I mean, look, I came from ABS, and I know that at times, it's only 1% of the population that will really look at the news. Hopefully in ABS, when I was there, we had 20% of the airtime. And we always said that news was the soul of the network. But I know that beyond the soul, Filipinos want their entertainment. Diba? So, sana naman po, wag po tayong magpa-intimidate. I guess that's, now having said that, does the government have the power? Absolutely. But what is the check against the government's abuse of power? It's the people. It is us.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason you hear me speaking like this. I'm uncomfortable in this situation. I'm a reporter. But I'm also not stupid. And I'm not going to just quietly watch our rights get eroded over time. This is, we've read enough books. We've seen this road to fascism in different countries around the world. But more than anything, we Filipinos have felt this once before. And this is my watch, right? And Rappler is my watch now. I'm not going to let it happen without letting you know it's happening.
Wow. We really appreciate your courage, Miss Maria. No? Pero are you satisfied with how people have reacted to what has happened to you and Rappler.com, all this pressure? Are you satisfied? Ako po kasi personally, I'm not satisfied. Parang yung mga tao parang, wala yan.
First, Father, I can see the attacks online escalate. And I am just so worried that's my taxpayer money that is paying for that, right? For the attacks against me. But I think I'm a glass half full person. And, the first is, I'm truly happy so many people found their voices because we've not seen this many people speaking in a very long time. So that's the first. And then the second is, I appeal again, together, we are stronger. Together, we are the people the government reports to. Together, we hold the government accountable. And I think the hardest thing for all of us to fight is fear. And that's the reason why, I think, in the end, that's the reason why the government chose to detain me for a night. And I think, maybe they didn't think that I would actually be clear-headed enough that I can articulate this. But it's very important to articulate the abuse of power, the way the law is being used as a weapon against perceived critics, which means that the Constitution is already being violated. And that goes back to, in the end, when I was growing up in the States, I used to ask, how can one man rule a country for 21 years? And when I first came to the Philippines in 1986, that was always my question. I said, what happened to all the Filipinos? How could they allow one man to have 21 years? And so part of me, as a young Filipino American, I thought, well, Filipinos must have wanted it. and that angered some of my friends who I was working with, right? But I think it's not that we want it. It's that we keep saying it's not about us. it's about someone else. It is about us. I guess that's so. Now I understand firsthand exactly what happened in 1973. Exactly why President Ferdinand Marcos was in power for 21 years. And I'm of age now. I'm no longer a student. And this is my watch. And all I'm saying is we cannot allow our fear or our apathy to allow this to happen again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happens very, very slowly, very gradually. Okay, Ms. Maria Ressa, I'd like just to greet our viewers, our listeners, and they have words for you. Si Lester, sabi niya, thank you, Ms. Maria Ressa, for holding the line. Anthony Perez, privileged to read Rappler News for the Ateneans here at radyo-katipunan. Of course, your very own Paterno Esmaquel is watching us. Ruth Flores from Maryland, USA. She says, good morning. Please continue doing what you're doing, Miss Maria Ressa. I am one of the countless followers of Rappler. So, yan po, and may pahabol pa si Ruth, the apathy of many is concerning, nakakalungkot. Miss Maria, of course, you're in touch with international groups, and what has happened to you, what is happening to our country, of course, is not isolated. This is happening everywhere, the rise of authoritarian leaders, and of course the suppression of rights. Would you share the same observation?
Yes, Father Nono. Una po, first, thank you to Lester, Anthony, to Ruth, to radyo-katipunan. I mean, I think what ties us all together is our values, right? Mm-hmm. And our respect of our democracy. Father Nono, you're right. I think that look, I wasn't in touch with with the global community. I think they were just alarmed by the news the same way I was. It's funny because my back was to the office because I was having a meeting when the NBI agents came into Rappler. So I didn't really know what was happening. Rappler was already live and I was still in the meeting, and I think the reason why the rest of the world is concerned about what's happening in the Philippines is, number one, we're the tip of the arrow. The tip of the arrow in a global fight for democracy. And it's on two fronts. The fact that technology, social media, has weaponized information. Again, that authoritarian-style leaders in many countries around the world are using cheap armies on social media to roll back democracy. That is something we have in common with a lot of other countries. And then the second one is we have a leader who uses both words and actions to stifle dissent, right? To cut back democracy. Our leader, just like President Trump in the United States, targets journalists, targets anyone who he perceives is working against him. Our government is doing that. Government officials are doing the same thing. And words have impact, especially when it comes from the most powerful man in the country. This is the complaint of human rights groups in the United States about President Trump's constant attacks on the media. These things matter. Our leaders should be the example of the values we want our democracy to enshrine. And when our leader violates those values, he sets an example that it is okay to do that. So, yes, I think this is a global fight. And it's kind of fitting considering that we've always known information is power. And when information goes global, our social media platforms are all global. That information ecosystem now, it's like a virus in one country spreads throughout the entire world. And a lie in one country can now spread 1,000,000 times, not just in that country, but all around the world. And that's what we're seeing. That's extremely dangerous. We need to be aware of this and do something about it.
Yeah, there should be a pushback. May nagtatanong dito, may nag-text na po, Miss Maria. You are very courageous. Where are you drawing your strength? May text
Sa
po.
Rappler po.
Sa Rappler.
Thank you po for the question. Yeah, I have to tell you, it's like I'm not doing this alone. When I was detained at the NBI, our managing editor and our head of multimedia stayed with me through the night, along with our lawyers, of course, right? But, Paterno is listening.
Yeah.
The courage and the idealism of our people. See, I'm getting emotional. Kasi po, it's the idealism of the youth that we need to protect.
Yeah.
The world is imperfect, but we should be working for the best that we can be, not accepting the worst.
Well said. A few questions na naman po, Miss Maria Ressa. If you have a crystal ball, we have the May elections coming up, and do you see our situation, especially with our democracy, getting better or getting worse? What is your evaluation?
We're watching closely, and I am sad to see so many of our politicians working on transactional politics. I think that this is the time we need real leaders. We need leaders who stand for our moral values, who stand for our democratic values. The words that I'm being forced to say to protect my rights, they should be coming from our politicians. These calculations of power that are being done. Because I've spoken and I've talked to many of them, and part of it is this, they say, well, we need to do this. And the fact that the top candidates are not actually going to forums, I think that gets rid of the entire reason for having elections in the first place. It's not just about the surveys. Elections are for us, for the people to get to know you and for you to get to know the people. It shouldn't be about just playing a numbers game. So my appeal is, please give us leaders we can believe in, leaders we can trust.
Okay, and leaders who will fight for our democracy. If you're given a chance, of course, this is your opportunity, Ms. Maria Ressa, to address our audience. Most of them are Ateneans here and abroad. We are watched by many alumni associations of the Ateneans, of the Ateneo. What would be your message to them?
First, thank you for giving me all the Rapplers who come from Ateneo.
Yes.
Because they're great. But I think first is this. Please demand accountability in your own area of influence. This is the way I look at the world, right? If each of us in our own areas of influence make that area the best that it can be, live according to our values. We call out anyone who violates both our personal values and our democratic values. If you are in power right now, please don't just follow orders that you may know are wrong. This is a time, we're living through a historic moment, and everything you do during these times matter for the kind of Philippines we're creating for the future. So I appeal to you, please stand up for your values and demand accountability.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Maria Ressa, for your time and for the wisdom you have imparted us. Maraming salamat po, and we pray for you, especially for your safety.
Maraming salamat po, Father Nono. Thank you for having me, and I'm sorry that I talked so much.
No,
but,
it's okay.
Thank you.
Okay, yan po si Miss Maria Ressa, and of course it's a great honor and privilege for us to have been able to interview her. Maraming salamat po, Miss Maria Ressa. We're praying for you, and of course your work at rappler.com. Wow, that was such a very inspiring conversation with Miss Maria Ressa, the woman of the hour. I hope you were able to catch that interview, mga katipuneros, because we asked her so many questions. Maraming salamat po ulit, Miss Maria Ressa. May pahabol siya, she wishes everyone though courage. Yes, courage. We need courage these days. Yeah. Okay, so as I was saying, yun nga po, no, we tried to clarify many things with Maria Ressa because maraming nga nagtatanong, maraming mga inosente sa mga sa mga pangyayari. So this is not just the case that was brought up against Rappler.com and Miss Maria Ressa as its CEO. Maraming kaso, which is quite ano bang tawag dyan? Nakapagtataka, So they are being singled out. Yes. So Maria Ressa, of course, will hold the line. Sabi nga, will hold the line, will fight for this right that is enshrined in our Constitution, press freedom, the right to expression, the right to speech. Okay, so thank you for representing us, Miss Maria Ressa. So, mga katipuneros, of course, you've heard her appeal, especially in connection with the coming elections. I don't know how you're feeling. Does the election in May, does it fill you with confidence, with optimism? If not, then do something about it. We need leaders that will protect our God-given democratic rights. Okay, so marami po tayong mga reaction. Ateneo de Manila University, Ateneo School of Government, Ateneo Law Student Council, they're all watching. Thank you so much po. And of course, kanina po sina Ruth Flores, thank you so much. And sabi niya, the apathy of many is very concerning, Father. Nakakalungkot. Miss Yvonne Peralta, good morning. Watching you from EDSA Shangri-La. Oy, anong meron sa EDSA Shang? Maraming salamat po, Miss Yvonne. Of course, si Catherine Cardos and Cynthia Estrella and Jenny Chua is also watching us. Si Lester, good morning to all of you. Sana po may napulot tayo, and sana we support Maria Ressa and Rappler.com, and of course our democracy. Sabi ko nga po, like Maria Ressa, I've also wondered how the dictatorship, martial law, happened in the Philippines, where the majority of the Filipinos asleep at that time, nangyari na lamang, and all the abuses that happened. This is how it happens, ganito po yun, slowly, gradually, yes, while we are enjoying, yes, the seeming peace, the comfort, and so on and so forth, slowly, one by one, is taken away from us. So we must be awake. Sabi nga ni Jesus, di ba? Be awake, be vigilant always. The price of democracy is vigilance. So, of course, from our end here at radyo-katipunan 87.9, of course, we will continue to fight for the truth and promote our freedoms, our democracy. Okay, that's our conversation with Miss Maria Ressa. I hope you were inspired. This woman is very inspiring, and parang ako pinagtataka ko, maraming mga kababaihang Pilipino ngayon ang nagiging beacons. Where are the men? Nasa na po ang mga kalalakihan? Bakit ang mga sinisingle out ng administration ay puro mga kababaihan? Of course, Senator Leila de Lima. You have, of course, Chief Justice. And of course, Miss Maria Ressa. Well, nandyan din si Senator Trillanes, of course, but majority are women. Where are the men? Okay, let's hold the line. Let's stand for our rights. Maraming salamat po. Maraming salamat once again kay Miss Maria Ressa for Paterno Esmaquel, who made it possible for us to interview Miss Maria Ressa. And of course, we would like to thank Rappler.com for their continuing courageous coverage of what's happening in the Philippines. Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng mga nanood, sa lahat ng mga nakinig here and around the globe. Hanggang sa muli, ito po ang inyong programa, The Jesuit Hour, here at Radio-Katipunan 87.9, and I'm your host, Father Nono Alfonso, S.J. Until next time, thank you so much.
Okay. So, that was 2 years ago. Grabe, no? Ang bilis po ng panahon. That was 2 years ago. Parang kahapon lamang nangyari yung interview na yan. Of course, naririyan pa rin po ang mga kaso kay Maria Ressa. And yet, may nabawas yata, no? May isa yatang kaso na libel na resolve na. Pero nandun pa yung karamihan. And yet, of course, the biggest development is if the government is not recognizing her, what she stands for, no? Press freedom, the whole world through the Nobel Peace Prize Committee, no, has recognized her worth. Yes, so congratulations, Miss Maria Ressa, no? You make us proud to be Filipinos. Okay, so nakita nyo yung diferensya, no? Pumayat po ako, no? Pumayat ako. That was 2 years ago. Masagana pa ang buhay. Katulad ninyo siguro, no? Pumayat din kayo ngayon. So we continue, of course, to be vigilant, no? Tuloy pa rin po ang laban hanggang sa, of course, May. The May elections are very important, but of course, beyond that, tuloy-tuloy ang laban. We need to hold the line. Before we go, my dear friends, may mga announcements lang po kami for Radyo Katipunan. So this is not about our show, but for Radyo Katipunan, we have launched, of course, the Ignatian Year, which is our year to commemorate the 500-year anniversary of the conversion of Saint Ignatius, yung kanyang cannonball experience, no? Natalo sa gera, tinamaan siya, na injured, and that, of course, changed his life for the better. That set him off for the conversion that he experienced. So, Ignatian Year po, meron kami mga talks, as you know, Father Mon Bautista, tapos na yung kanyang mahabang series of talks. Pero marami pa po, of course, Chris Loney, last Friday, So I'd like to announce na next Friday po, interesante ang talk for the Ignatian Year. It is about, again, Friday, 8 p.m. It's about the Jesuits and their Marian devotion. So kung kayo po ay Marian devotee, and ako rin, hindi ko rin to alam, na marami palang mga Marian devotions dito sa Pilipinas. And of course, we know that there are plenty. No? Ang dami-dami pong mga Marian devotions sa ating bansa. Kami na lang sa Bicol, we have the Our Lady of Peña Francia, meron sa Antipolo, meron, ang dami po, But ito pong presentation ng ating speaker, we will learn that maraming mga Marian devotions, meron pong kagagawan dyan, mga Jesuita. Yan. So we will find out about that, next Friday po. So our speaker, our resource person for that, the Jesuits and the Marian devotions in the Philippines, will be an author of yung topic na yan, he's been writing on that topic, Marian devotions. So, and he agreed to write a manuscript for us in celebration of the Ignatian Year. So abangan niyo po yung kanyang presentation and also the book launching na rin, it's really a short book on the Jesuits and their Marian devotions, or the Marian devotions that they introduced, or they were instrumental, for establishing in the Philippines. So yan po, that's next Friday. And of course, meron pong magandang concert the following night, So the talk is Friday at 8 p.m. next week, not this Friday, not tomorrow, next week. And then the following day, Saturday night, ano po yan, October 30, meron naman pong Marian concert. So October, of course, is a Marian month. So yan po ang aming offerings for this month in celebration of the Ignatian year. Medyo po hindi nasunod yung mga schedules, as you know, may mga talks dapat na produce, na shoot, but of course because of the quarantines ay hindi nasusunod, hindi nakakapag-shoot, hindi nakapag-record, etc. But we announce to you, we will announce kung ano po yung ready. And so next Friday and next Saturday, yes, two big events in celebration of the Ignatian year. The talk on Friday on the Jesuits and the Marian devotions in the Philippines at 8 p.m. with Mr. Michael de los Reyes, and Saturday, the Ave Maria, the concert for Mary. So abangan nyo po yan. That's next week. Yan, exciting. In the meantime, magkita pa ulit tayo dito sa Jesuit Hour next week, Tuesday. Kita-kita po tayo. And sa mga nagsisimba po sa amin, tuwing alas 8 ng umaga, kita-kita rin po tayo sa ating Keep the Faith Masses. That's it. Magandang umaga po ulit sa inyong lahat. This has been the Jesuit Hour. I'm Father Nono Alfonso. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for Maria Ressa. We continue to pray for her and our country. Hanggang sa sunod na linggo, this has been the Jesuit Hour. Bye-bye.
The Jesuit Hour. Get to know the Jesuits. Discover their spirituality, their history, their ministries. The Jesuit Hour. Anything Jesuit, everything Jesuit. The Jesuit Hour.
The Angelus.